What you're seeing right here is a report is being done on a particular mine that I did work at as a contractor back in the day. And this report is going to be 6 sections long, and it's based off of historical MSHA data, right? Now, if you want to do something similar, it's quite difficult, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if we look at this, this is 3 million rows. This is every incident, accident, citation for the last 26 years. At the time of this recording, it's 2026. And this data is from the year 2000 onward. Now, if we look at this, we can see within the first line, there's misspellings. This data set needs to be cleaned. And keep in mind, this is coming directly from the federal government. So the first step in order to analyze or do anything useful with this, you would think, okay, I'll put it into Excel. There's a big problem with that. Excel only accepts 1 million rows. And if you've ever loaded up a document that was 1 million rows on Excel, it is very, very slow. This is 3 million rows. Plus, you have to clean the data set, and back in the day, you would have to hire a full-on data analyst to do this, and I mean, not even the government has done what I'm about to show you. Okay? So, as this report is reporting, we can see that it's making charts, it's writing figures, and it's going to produce a beautiful PDF. Okay? But let's go back and see the entire app I built for our clients here at Big Dog Mining. So who am I? My name is Daniel Gerke. I've been in the mining industry, particularly working for underground contractors for 10 years of my career all throughout the United States, Australia, and Colombia. Okay? And after I got out of mining, I went in because I became obsessed with AI. I got into AI, opened up my own AI consultancy. But now, with Big Dog Mining, we are bringing that and bridging that gap between AI automation, AI implementation, and the mining industry. So as we can see here, this is just a basic dashboard that we can kind of see what all of this data, after it was cleaned, could show us. We can see that there is a general dip, which is good. Injury rate per 200,000 hours, that's been going down. We can see the fatalities have kind of plateaued here since 2016. We had some sharp upticks, not too sharp like 2010 with the Upper Big Branch disaster. We had some upticks in 2021 and 2023. If you ever worked in a mine, you'll kind of intuitively know why this might be the case, but the most incidents happen around lunchtime, around day shift, go figure. Also, you can tell that there is more incidents happening in coal mines versus metal, non-metal, and most of the incidences, roughly double, occur in underground versus surface mines. We can see that handling of materials is the biggest cause for incidents, which makes sense. You know, as we can see, this kind of correspond with each other, fingers, thumb, you're handling stuff. You might, you know, you're cutting something, you might cut your thumb or something. Which actually, I just remembered one of my first weeks working underground coal, the guy I was working with split his finger wide open. All right, anyway, let's see. Let's keep going down. We can kind of see machinery, all these things. Pretty cool information here. We can see that citations appear to predict injuries. However, this is not the case when you actually look at what the inspections are targeting. Kind of interesting. We can click around, we can see the different mines that had the highest incident rates, like this one. We see their injuries and fatalities. They seem to be going on an uptrend, but 2026, it kind of been going down. Right now it's August 21st. This data is updated on August 21st, so it looks like they're actually on track. They've sorted their stuff up, looks like. If we go on the map, this is one of my favorite parts of this app. We can see a heat map of all the different incidences. We can also filter. We can filter between coal mines, so we can see where all the coal mines are in the country. Okay. We can also filter between metal, non-metal. So this is going to include aggregates as well. Makes sense. Okay. We can put it back to all sectors. We can look at different commodities. So we can say sand and gravel. Look at all these. Stone, non-metal, metal, all the different metal mines. So you can see on the East Coast, which makes sense, all of those mines have been mined out. All of the metal is going to be on the West Coast. And let's see, and probably, in Alaska as well. This is pretty cool. We got Red Dog way, way up here, up north in Alaska. And then we can also, from the map view, go in and look at their dashboard here, look at all the different incidences. You can see there's a fatality in 2021 and 2006 for this mine. We can see the overall trends, mine by mine. We can see all of their different characteristics up here at the top. Total employee hours up to the date. Pretty good stuff, pretty cool stuff, right? So let's look at a mine I used to work at. Used to work for a contracting company called GMS. So let's look and see if we can find, we can look at GMS as a contractor, GMS Mine Repair. We can look at them. We can also go in here. I worked at a Consol Energy mine. Consol Energy. Okay, let's see which one. Harvey mine, coal mine, Consol. So we can kind of see the trends there that's been going on. Pretty cool stuff. So you might be thinking, all right, Dan, this is pretty cool. What about, how can we use AI in the mix here? So let's see. I used to work for a company called Iron Woman Mining Services, and I remember there was an incident that happened. Let's see if it can just find it based off of what I'm going to tell it. Can you find the incident that occurred with Iron Woman? Roughly, when was that? I think it was 2019 or 2020. So as it's doing its thing, running its SQL queries, running its semantic search, doing all of its stuff, I want to talk to you about with another cool feature here. So here, I mean, we can kind of just filter. We can kind of see different things like of this nature. We can see days lost. We can run that and just really have interactive charts and graphs and things like this. What's cool is, as you can see, this just popped up, and we can see it happened in 2019. So as we talk to the AI, it actually populates and creates a table. We can see the employee slid down a small slope. Yep, I vividly remember that. He slipped down the invert and he dislocated his shoulder. Another cool thing what we can do, we can make generated reports. We can edit the sections, we can edit the years, we can tell the AI what to find. I just said trends, anomalies, comparisons. I believe I spelled anomalies wrong. But as we can see, it's hard at work. It's been working prior to the start of the recording of this video. And it is just going through, it's making charts, it's running queries, going through all of that. And I'll show you what a report looks like. We can also actually do a contractor. So if we wanted, we could put a contractor, like a report of a contractor working at a particular mine. So we can get really granular there as well. So the report just finished up. Pretty awesome stuff. Okay. Now, what I'll do right now is I'll just export this to a PDF because it'll just look much, much nicer. We can see, I'll just save it to the downloads and I'll actually open it up. So we can see right here, here's the report. We have an executive summary citing every single thing. We have our table of contents. We have our table. Injury trend, years that break it. This is a pretty amazing report. Different tables, different charts, different figures. And we have the conclusion as well as the methods and sources. If you want a report like this, on anything. If you're a contractor, if you're a mine operator, if you want a report like this, a specific one, we can get very granular. There will be a link in the description below where you can book a call with me and we can talk about how you can get beautiful reports like this and this amazing analytics tool so you don't have to spend countless hours trying to make sense of all of this data coming as a text document from the U.S. government. Have a good one. This is Big Dog Mining. We're out.